Hi everyone, welcome back to my mini video series. It's Angie Hayes here of Angie Hayes Therapy, and I'm continuing with my second video in the series where we're going to talk about awareness. What do I mean by awareness? Well, we're talking about how come some people who suffer exactly the same experiences in life, however traumatic, don't seem to get into trouble mentally, where some of us do. And in the first video, we discussed the fact that it's down to the key thing, which is resilience. And it's made up of several important components. And these are the ones I've drawn out that I think are vitally important. And I'm going to explain a little bit more about them to you today. But we're doing it in small, bite-sized chunks, because if you're anything like me, I hate watching people rambling on in long videos when they could just get to the point and say what they needed to say. So without further ado, let me introduce my little assistant. Here he is, my little chimp, my little mate that I use in some of my videos, and I use a lot with my clients, and it creates quite a bit of fun and laughter along the way. Why have I got a chimp? I'll explain that in a minute. But I haven't got a name for him, so if anyone can think of a name, any suggestions welcome. So today, awareness. Well, awareness of what? Yeah, that's all very well for me to say awareness, but what the hell am I talking about? Three key things. In any given situation, no matter what happens to you in life, I want you to remember the one key thing that's most important. Yeah, even if you're done to from the highest, you've got a big squashy debris lands on your head, totally out of your control, nothing you can do about it. Somebody does something really bad to you. I want you to just remember this. Be aware that you have a choice. You always have choices. They may not be nice choices. They may not be choices you would have wanted, but you always have a choice. And I think if you can just remember that, no matter how tough stuff gets, what choice does is it puts you back in control. Because for our minds to feel safe and secure and happy, they need to have that sense of control. Control is a constant. Remember that. Control is a constant. So if we don't have that control, we start to lose it and we start to get into our survival mode, and then our little chimp comes into play. Now, you've probably heard of the book by Dr. Stephen Peters, The Chimp Paradox. This is Why I Have a Chimp. Brilliant book. It's well worth a read and understanding how our minds work. Important thing for me is that you really understand you've got a very powerful piece of kit in here. And I think we're only just scratching the surface in terms of understanding what it's capable of doing to us. But this brings me on to my second point, is I want you to start being aware of your thought processes, because I'm going to repeat this. Negative thinking creates anxiety. Okay, if you don't believe me, listen again. Negative thinking equals anxiety. Because guess what? When we're in that part of the brain, when we're in negative thought process mode, all we will start doing is catastrophizing, negatively forecasting about the future. This is going to happen, that's going to happen, then this could happen, or negatively introspecting about the past. If only that hadn't happened, I could have done this, or I should have done that. Let me just say this one thing. Thoughts are not real. They're constructs. They are not real. You don't know for 100% certainty that all of those imagined catastrophes are actually going to happen. It's all in your imagination. It really is. And yes, I can hear you already saying to me, I can hear the screams at the computer screen or the phone or the TV screen. But what about my past? My past was real. For sure it was. I understand that. I've got a real crappy past that I really don't want to keep being reminded of, to be honest. But just think about it. Let's just reframe the thinking around this. So you think bad things have happened to you in the past. Think of it this way. You've survived it. How have you done that? You've got resources within you. You've got strengths. You've got skills. You've got characteristics that you have lost touch with. You've just simply lost touch with them because you're not in a good place at the moment. He's running the show. Okay, and when he runs the show, he's got the mental age of a 5 to 7 year old. There's no intelligent thought here. It's just, let's have a party and let's have a meltdown and a tantrum. Okay. So you have overcome your past. Just remember that. And wherever you are now, you can influence the future. Even starting today, you can influence what happens going forward and how you live your life. The other important thing to be aware of with negative thoughts is that when he's in charge, when we're in that primitive survival part of our brain, he doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. Yeah? No, he doesn't. Your brain, that part of your brain, does not know the difference between imagination and reality. It will believe whatever you tell it, and it will start engaging with it and acting on it. Think about this for a moment. People who have phobias. Have you ever seen somebody who's got a real bad phobia of a spider or a height, and they have an absolute meltdown? Those people know on some level of intelligence that it's not an appropriate response and they're not actually in danger. But in that moment, because he's been allowed to run the show, he takes over and bump, there we are, meltdown. So just be aware, because those thoughts are not real. They're not what's actually going to happen, and you can influence the future. You absolutely can. So the third thing, be aware that you can distract from that thought process. I'm just going to put him down gently here because he's been very naughty today. You can distract from that thought process. Oh, yes, you can. Be aware you have a choice. So what does distraction mean? It needs to be positive distraction, appropriate coping strategy. So being in the moment. This is why cold water swimming has got such a good reputation for helping mental health. But the key reason why it works is because when you dip yourself in that freezing cold bloody water, all you can focus on is your breathing. We know breathing is the volume control to anxiety. Proper deep breathing, taking longer on the breath out than you do on the breath in. But also, because you're focusing on just trying to stay alive in that moment, you forget everything else. Your brain just has a moment to just go, poof, let's just not think about anything and let's just focus on surviving. And that's the key reason why cold water swimming is so effective for mental health. There's other great benefits, being around like-minded people and all the rest of it, but that's the key reason why it just stops that thought process. Now, some therapists will say, have positive thoughts. Well, I'm not going to be so flippant. I think that's a little bit flippant, and I'm not disrespecting those therapists. And yes, it's true, positive thoughts helps, but when you're in a bad place, you can't just switch to positive thinking. So I ask my clients to switch to gratitude. Be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for your health. I know people that are staring down the face of a terminal illness. Do you want that? Are you there? You know, I'm not trying to be flippant about these things, but we really need to reframe our thinking and put a different perspective and slant on it. Because I just want you to remember, you are safe, you are secure, and you have all the tools in your toolbox to get yourself out of the situation and to endure it until the time you are out of it. Why do I know that? Because I've had to do it. And if I can do it, anyone can do it, believe me. So just remember, who do you want to be in control? Him or you? You have a choice. I hope that's helped, my darlings. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about another thing I'm quite passionate about. Oh, my words today. And that's acceptance. Okay, so until next time, take very good care of yourselves, my little loves. And just remember, you have a choice, and I'm here rooting for you. Bye for now.